So what I share with individuals is, again, let's now, once we get to understanding that there is a problem and there's a way to get out of it, education is the first thing. So the first thing that is most important, and when it comes to dealing with any individual, is your why and how serious you are. Because I can pour in the information into you, I can tell you everything you need to do, but if you don't want it, it's not going to happen. Start right there. The second thing is, what are you willing to do? And whatever you're willing to do is what we're going to start with. It doesn't matter about what you need to get to, because we all have a place of what's ideal and what we have to get to. But one of the biggest problems most of us face is we have that ideal mindset up front. And so we never get started because we're too busy trying to make everything perfect before we actually hit the starting line. When in reality, no, start where you're at. And as you're going, you can continue to get better and get better and get better. But at least you get the ball rolling. So now you can, so now we can look back and we can see changes along the way. So when it comes to the first thing that I want to talk about right now is understanding what institutions and credit entities look at, is they call it debt to income ratio. Okay. When it comes to understanding getting debt and how that looks, we have to look at things from a perspective what we call a debt to income ratio. Now, most people, when it comes to debt, they look at it, what that is basically showing that, okay, how much money do I bring in through my job or jobs or any type of income in association to my fixed expenses. Not talking about our expenses, house expenses and things we do outside of that, simply our fixed expenses. That's my car note, my insurance, that's a mortgage statement. If I have any furniture that's financed, anything that is financed in the matter that I'm making a monthly payment on, that is considered a fixed expense. And I have to now look at what are my fixed expenses and how much that adds up to monthly in association to what my income is. And then and then from there, I need to look at what is the ratio of that. And for a lot of us, if we were to put these down on paper, we might find ourselves at 50%, sometimes at 60 and 65% debt to income ratio. Now, what does that mean? That means that I have more expenses than I have income. So I'm living underwater. Not to mention that I still have life. I still got to buy groceries. Gas is increasing. I want to have some fun. I still, want to have some leisure, and I need resources for that stuff. And so I find myself, when I look at things on paper, that the reason why my life is so hard and why I'm having so many challenges is because I'm living in a life underwater. And because I'm not seeing it from a paper standpoint, it just looks hard. But I don't recognize that, wow, I'm actually underwater. Now, the next question is how do I get from underwater? And so that right now is now where it comes to the solutions. There are many different ways of how you can get yourself into a better position where you're no longer underwater. The first, one of the number one solutions is what some would say, getting out of, debt cancellation or consolidated debt. You might have credit cards, you might have bills, but one of the things to start off for is working on paying off the lowest hanging fruit. Hey, you know what? I have some furniture, I have things financed that I need to pay off. Let me work on getting those things paid off. And what it requires is having a mindset of shaving my debt versus thinking about this lump sum idea that's just going to knock it out. Okay. A lot of people look at it from a standpoint of, I'm just trying to find a thing that's just going to erase it all. And you can find ways to do that through debt consolidations and other ways, but they also come with other liabilities and challenges that you may not want. So the best idea is to learn how to shave, which is now me looking at all of my expenses. And now let's tackle the lowest hanging fruit. Okay. What is going to be the first, the number one lowest hanging fruit I can tackle when I'm looking at all of my expenses? Taking a look at my non-fixed expenses, because that is the pool of income that I have that I can use and do extra with to change my debt to income ratio. How much money do I actually spend on frivolous matters? When I mean frivolous matters, eating out, going out, buying clothes, buying things that's not necessary for me to get by, but things that I just like to do. And it doesn't mean cut it all out. It just means this is an area where I can shave from. You know what? If I just shaved 15%, 20% of the money that I spent over here, or a little bit more, to going over cutting out one of these debts and paying that off. That is going to be huge. I just dropped my debt to income ratio down by 5%. It doesn't seem like a lot of initially, but now you have an additional 5% that you can use towards the next bill that you have, the next fixed expense, and paying that off. Eventually, you keep following this process with the discipline of adding more, paying it off more. You're going to eventually get to a place where your debt to income ratio is going to be 50%, below 50%, 35%, 20%, and it can get to levels so low that it seems like this is unrealistic for me to not have any debt at all.